Our a is 1, b is 5, and c is 3. So we substitute those values into the quadratic formula. Then we simplify. So 5 squared is 25. Negative 4 times 1 times 3 is negative 12. And 2 times 1 is 2. So we get x equals negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 13. Because 25 minus 12 is 13. Divided by 2. The positive number under the square root. That's a good thing. Therefore, there are two real solutions. So, it's negative 5 plus the square root of 13 divided by 2, or it's negative 5 minus the square root of 13 divided by 2. So therefore, it is x approximately rounded negative 0.7, or x is 4.3. Solving quadratic equations algebraically using the quadratic formula. Here's a second example. We'll solve this using the quadratic formula. 2x squared minus 4x equals 4x squared minus x plus 3. What is our first step? Our first step is to reorganize everything to one side, so that we have ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Here we've done that. We moved everything on this side over to this side, and then we've simplified. So now we have 2x squared plus 3x plus 3. So our a is equal to 2, our b is 3, and our c is 3. We substitute these values in to our equation, to our quadratic formula. We start to simplify. 3 squared is 9. Negative 4 times 2 times 3 is negative 24. So then we get x is equal negative 3 plus or minus the square root of negative 15 divided by 4. There's a problem. There's a negative number underneath the square root. Therefore, there is no real solution. Let's try another example. Example 3. We'll solve using the quadratic formula. X squared minus 4x plus 0.25 is equal to x minus 6. First, we need to move everything into standard form. So we're moving everything to one side. So we move the x and the minus 6 to the other side. So they become negative x plus 6. Then we simplify. X squared minus 5x plus 6.25. Our a is 1, b is 5, c is 6.25. We substitute these values into our quadratic formula. X squared equals negative 5 plus or minus the square root of negative 5 squared minus 4 times 1 times 6.25 divided by 2 times 1. We simplify it, and we get 5 plus or minus the square root of 0 divided by 2. There's a 0 under the square root, so there is one real solution. The square root of 0 is 0. So x equals 5 over 2, or 5 halves. Solving quadratic equations algebraically. There are a variety of techniques that can be used to solve quadratic equations. The good news is that no matter which method you choose, you will arrive at the correct answer, provided that you do it correctly. The bad news: for some equations, one method could mean a lot more work than another. Solving quadratic equations algebraically. Example 1. we're going to solve x squared plus 3x minus 10. 5 times negative 2 is negative 10, and 5 plus negative 2 is 3. Therefore, our factors are x plus 5 times x minus 2. So x plus 5 is equal to 0, or x minus 2 is equal to 0. So x equals negative 5, or x equals 2. So the solution is x equals negative 5 or x equals 2 in order for this equation to be true. The equation is already in standard form and is factorable. Let's look at a second example. We'll solve this one. X squared plus 3x minus 5. The equation is already in standard form, but it's not factorable. A is 1, B is 3, C is negative 5. So we'll use our quadratic formula. We substitute those values in. We start to simplify. We get negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 29 divided by 2. So x equals negative 3 plus the square root of 29 divided by 2, or x equals negative 3 minus the square root of 29 divided by 2. So we get x is 1.2, or x is negative 4.2. This is the exact solution. A third example. X minus 5 squared minus 16 is equal to 0. This equation is in vertex form. To use factoring or quadratic formula, we would have to expand the expression and collect like terms to rewrite the equation in standard form first. There is another way though. X minus 5 squared is equal to 16. So the square root of x minus 5 squared is equal to plus or minus the square root of 16. So we get x minus 5 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 16. So x minus 5 is equal to plus or minus 4. So x minus 5 is equal to 4, or x minus 5 is equal to negative 4. Therefore, x equals 4 plus 5, or x equals negative 4 plus 5. So on this side, x is equal to 9, or x is equal to 1. So the solution here is x is equal to 9, or x equals 1. We can check it. The left side, x minus 5 squared, is 9 minus 5 squared, which is 4 squared, which is 16. The left side equals the right side. So our solution works. Let's try for our second solution. X is equal to 1. So 1 minus 5 squared is negative 4 squared, which is 16. So this solution is also a good one, because the left side equals the right side.